Joining us for a conversation is Brett Richards of GoldShore Resources. Mr. Richards, thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thanks, Maurice. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, great to have you on the program as GoldShore Resources has just surpassed another significant milestone as the company has just released an updated mineral resource estimate on the flagship Moss Lake Gold Project. Before we begin, Mr. Richards, for someone new to the story, please take us on to Ontario and introduce us to GoldShore Resources and the unique opportunity the company presents to the market.
Thanks, Maurice. Yeah, GoldShore Resources has the Moss Gold Project in northwestern Ontario. It's about 100 kilometers west of Thunder Bay on the Trans-Canada Highway, and we have a land package of about 18,000 hectares. And in simple mining terms and exploration terms, that's quite large. We've been working the project now for 2 years, and we've raised $60 million to support the campaign. We've drilled over 79,000 meters during that period of time. We stopped drilling in February to focus on putting the mineral resource estimate out and then taking us from there to the next stage.
Well, let's begin with today's press release where GoldShore Resources has announced an updated mineral resource estimate along with resource expansion potential on the Moss Lake project. Mr. Richards, walk us through the numbers on the updated MRE and in particular on the high-grade shear domain.
Yeah, really exciting news today out in the market. If you'll remember, back on November 15th of 2022, we put out a preliminary resource at Moss, and it was just over 4 million ounces at 1.1 grams. We have now culminated all the drill data and all the results into a new resource, and that resource came out today at 6 million ounces at 1.02 grams. So that includes both Moss and a maiden resource at East Coldstream. So a 44% increase from the original resource estimate we put out in November. But more importantly, Moss has grown to 5.42 million ounces at 1.03 grams. And it is significant because contained within that is 3.35 million ounces at 1.84 grams of gold. So we have these high-grade shears that are really dominating the resource, pulling up, tremendous grade. And I think that is going to be what separates us from, our peers and others in the open pit, low-grade kind of development space. We are going to dominate simply because we have grade.
Now, these numbers were based on a conservative $1,650 gold price. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What do these numbers look like at a 2,000 gold price?
Yeah, they probably look substantially better. We didn't run that, and we've been conservative, as you know. We've been pretty conservative all along. We used $1,500 in November. We're using $1,650 now, simply because the needle has moved for evaluating projects, and we use the majors as a I'll say a benchmark for how we deal with this. On our inputs, we used, again, they're aggressive, but they are conservative in nature. So we used $2.70 for mining, $12.50 for processing, and $2.50 for G&A. And those are the types of numbers that all of the majors use when evaluating projects. So we want to be consistent with how people are going to look at us, rather than being that standalone junior mining company that uses really, really aggressive estimates and assumptions that aren't really realistic in this market. So we've been very conservative all along. So 6 million ounces is a starting point for us in any event, irrespective of the gold price, because we have so much potential on our land package, but so much potential along strike as well.
Speaking of the gold price, for someone who's considering, should I purchase physical precious metals or take an opportunity to purchase shares in GoldShore Resources, let's give them a different perspective, if we will. Let's highlight the success of your team's proof of concept. Now, GoldShore, as you referenced, has already drilled a total of 78,000 meters to date. What is the cost of capital for each meter drilled on the Moss Lake?
So, we are, I would say, top quartile in our industry as far as our discovery and our drilling costs go. We were drilling all in for under $300 a meter for the past year. and our discovery costs are around $10 an ounce for our inferred resource. So it's quite low, simply because we had a good guide to start with. We can't take all the credit. We had a historical resource to guide us. Not a lot of that data was usable, but it certainly did guide us. So when we drilled, we were getting, on average, we've brought in 76 ounces of gold for every meter we've drilled. Again, it is going to be top quartile in our industry.
Yeah, those numbers are remarkable. How are you just sitting there so contained? Got to take congratulations on that. Now, germane to the updated MRE, GoldShore Resources also released a study on the preliminary metallurgy results on the Moss Lake. What can you share with us?
Yeah, so all along in the past couple of months, we've been doing extensive metallurgical testing, and we've been trying to look at some alternatives for the low-grade material that we have, because we have quite a halo of low-grade where these shear domains cut through. So, and it's why we report in two different geological domains, simply from that standpoint. But when we did bottle rolls, and we did a lot of them for both Moss and East Coldstream, we got 95% recoveries at Moss and 98% recoveries at East Coldstream. I think we used 93 as our number for Moss, but we were getting recoveries even better. So it's significantly better than the last PEA that was done, or the last resource, the historical resource that was done, where they used anywhere from 80 to 85% recovery. So big jump in recoveries based on doing more detailed work. The game changer for us going forward is looking at the low-grade material and heap leaching it. And it's something we're exploring. We're exploring with a company called Caps Cassidy, and also Asenco, who did all our metallurgical test work. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can evaluate recoveries on heap leach, and even as low as 45 or 50%. It may be extremely economic to run heap leaches at this stage, and that's going to be a kind of our next step of understanding. So we will end up heap leaching a large quantity of the low grade and processing through normal flotation CIL in a plant the higher grade material, or the sulfide, anything is related to sulfide.
Now, how long will it take for those results to come out?
So, a normal PEA, we would probably have the results probably by the end of the summer, end of August, early September. Doing column testing to test the heap leach takes 150 to 160 days. And we're going to start that fairly soon. So, I don't know we may have a PEA that comes out just based on processing, putting everything through a plant. And that's an option that we have to explore. But we'll also be, looking at heap leaching, and if it's successful, we'll redo that later on, or we'll look at it all at once. I don't have an answer just yet, Maurice, because we have a lot of permutations to run, a lot of scenarios to run with our consultant who is going to do this. And, so there are a lot of unknowns right now. So I'm still guiding kind of September. It may well be late September or early October when we put the results of the PEA out. But we want to do this right, and we want to do this to what it actually is going to get built at the end of the day from all the work that we've done.
Now, in terms of news flow, what can shareholders expect next?
Well, next, we'll announce who's going to be doing the project for us, and we'll be working with them. Along the way, we're going to see more metallurgical test work come out. We're gonna guide the market along the way with what we're thinking on what the project size will be, and we'll try and keep the market with us along the way. We have a 6 million ounce, and you've seen our presentation. The extent of the potential. We have 11 kilometers of strike in where Moss is, and Moss takes 3.5 kilometers of that. So we have almost 4 kilometers in either direction of known mineralization. We just need to drill it, and then we need to infill it, and much like we need to infill Moss. But there's extensive potential to grow Moss in a big way. I think we need to evaluate that, and to help us evaluate that, we may be talking to larger companies mid-tier producers, senior producers, to get their view of our project, to see how they would do this. And that's important to understand their feedback so that we can calibrate a project, first of all, that we can finance and that we can build. And Pete and I have built numerous mines in our career. I've built 3. Pete has built 2. And this is his sweet spot, running the studies and coming up into a construction decision. And so I think we'll talk to some of the majors. He and I both cut our teeth with majors, me with Kinross and Pete with Newmont. So we do have an understanding of what they're looking for. But I've always said that we're on a journey to becoming a tier 1 asset. And quite frankly, this is a step in that direction. 6 million ounces, lots of potential around it, lots of other potential. We still have 22 other gold targets on our land package to drill. So we've got certainly a lot of work to do to understand the scale of this, but it's exciting. I'm excited about this milestone that we've launched today with this press release. And you know what? There's going to be a lot of news to come, and obviously the PEA is going to come in the early fall. And just lots of excitement for the company.
Well, switching gears, let's get into some numbers. Mr. Richards, please provide the capital structure for GoldShore Resources.
Sure. We have about 200 million shares out right now, plus or minus. I think the number is 205. And we've got just under $6 million in the bank today. So we're well funded for the rest of the year. I don't like to kind of run the bank down to zero. But we're certainly long enough with cash to get us through the PEA, and we're fully funded through that. Now, we could take some permutations, some changes to that if we talk to a partner, and a partner may say, hey, we want to get drills running now and get them into the ground, and we'll finance that. So those are the types of JVs we'll be talking about with people. So there's just so much drilling to do. There's probably 20 to 25,000 meters of drilling to do at Moss, to infill, to M&I, to get this to a pre-feasibility study level, which that needs to be done. We have 29 other targets on our 35-kilometer trend to test. That will take drilling and also take capital. But I think where we are right now, we've encapsulated our project. We've encapsulated our cash to preserve getting through the PEA. And I think it's just an exciting time for us, and actually a tremendous value proposition to get investors excited about GoldShore for a number of reasons.
Well, speaking of excited, full disclosure, I am a proud shareholder, and I am adding to my position today. All right.
Thanks, Maurice.
All right. Well, in closing, sir, what would you like to say to shareholders?
I think today is a milestone for the company, and there will be many more to come. But I think the value proposition today is on a per ounce basis, and this is how mining companies get evaluated at this stage of development, on a per ounce basis, market cap per ounce. We're trading at about $7 or $8 an ounce today. Even with a bit of a run up last week in our share price, we're trading at $7 or $8. Our peer group trades at $30 an ounce for low-grade open-pit development projects in Canada and the U.S. However, the high-grade projects that are out there trade at $70 to $90 an ounce. So we have tremendous scope to move from our $7 well north of that to calibrate to our peer group. We have tremendous scope to calibrate up towards our high-grade peer group because of these high-grade shears we have, and the fact the high-grade material in our project will sequence early in the mine plan. It'll bring tremendous economics to the PEA and to a project. And I think we will re-rate multiple times once the market starts to understand that. So from a value proposition and an investment proposition, no better time to get into GoldShore than right now. We have the people, we have the place, we have the size and scale and potential. We have all the access to infrastructure we need to build a big mining camp, and we have grade, and we have great metallurgical results so far. So we tick every box. And if you want leverage to gold and you like gold, you're going to look at GoldShore as a tremendous leverage to a gold play. So that's what I want to leave with people. There's no better time to look at GoldShore than today.
Last question, sir. What did I forget to ask?
I don't think I think we've covered everything, Maurice. I think at the end of the day, we have I think we have a tremendous project with tremendous upside and a large amount of potential. A lot of CEOs will say, yeah, we have the best project and the best people and all those things, but we really do. And I can show you and demonstrate that, and that is not arm waving. So I think when we talk about, the potential of this company, I go back to those 5 key attributes that when evaluating mining projects, people have to look at. And like I said earlier today, we tick every box.
Well, Mr. Richards, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Wishing you and GoldShore Resources the absolute best, sir.
Thanks, Maurice. Thanks for having me on.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.